Dear friends, welcome to our Snail TV channel. The hero of today's retelling is the melodrama Curiosa of 2019. Paris, 19th century. Bohemian society, the rich, artists, poets, and life-seekers are spinning in a dance of sensual pleasures. Because this is Paris, the capital of love. In the center of the plot is a love triangle. At the very beginning of the film, we're shown how the eccentric photographer Pierre-Louis spies on three sisters in the locker room. The father of these girls approaches him and escorts him out of here. In the hallway, all three girls openly flirt with Pierre, to which the man reciprocates. The famous poet Henri de Reyna is also standing in the corridor. The girl's mother is interested in this man in order to marry her daughter Mary to him. She asks to read his poems, which Henry is happy to tell. The woman takes him to another room with her two daughters. The latter went to tell the servants to bring tea. Pierre followed her. He's in love with her, and they flirt with each other walking down the corridor. They were about to kiss when their mother suddenly appeared and interrupted them. Marie and Henry get married, but it is clear that the girl clearly doesn't love her husband. She married him just to pay off her debts. We're shown how Henry the postman brings a letter from Pierre addressed to him. The letter says that Pierre is madly in love with Marie, and there is only way to avoid a rivalry that will forever destroy their friendship. They have to admit the girl both, because they love her too both. A conversation in the library of two friends makes us think. Pierre considers Henry's act a betrayal. The poet, in his defense, says that he to try his luck, but Pierre did nothing. For Marie's sake, Henry is ready for anything, and even for the betrayal of his best friend. He loves Marie so much. For Pierre, love is only the satisfaction of feelings. A woman ready for any new games. It was already late evening. Henry is waiting for his wife in his house. And here she comes back. She went to a cafe with her sisters. But bad luck, only courtesans go to the cafe. Henry is also told by the news that Pierre has arrived from Hungary and brought a new woman with him. Meanwhile, in Pierre's apartment, he and his friends are having fun and taking pictures of an Algerian woman. Marie comes to Pierre's apartment and a new woman meets her there. The girl is jealous but doesn't want to show it. Pierre clearly loves Marie more. They go into another room and kiss. Marie reads the poems written by Pierre with great pleasure. During lunch, at the common table, the girl opens a newspaper about politics. Henry was surprised. He didn't know that his wife was interested in this. But all this is not for nothing. The newspaper has written the address of the meeting of Marie and Pierre. The photographer hinted in a letter that in the newspaper you need to look for three letters. M-L-E, three first letters of the sisters. Their meeting will take place at 17 o'clock, 36th Avenue de Carnot. Marie comes to Pierre's apartment with a strange desire to be photographed in poses disapproved both by morality. Photos in which the girl is depicted naked, Pierre develops in containers. The next day, he comes to Marie and Henry's house. Two lovers are trying to hide the fact of their meetings. Marie asks her husband's friends how he went to Algeria, what he saw interesting. While Henry went to get the photos, the two kiss, until they hear their husband's footsteps. They look at the photos together, and Pierre imperceptibly touches Marie's hand. Pierre and his friend drag a rocking chair into the apartment, and then they sit in the room and look at the photos of a serious nature taken by Pierre. Suddenly, the photographer looked confused in the face. He clearly doesn't want Marie to be seen naked by anyone else. Marie and Pierre often begin to be alone together. At one point, the man expressed his preference for a threesome. Marie starts to get angry. She doesn't want Pierre to have mistresses other than her. Marie hurries back to the photographer's apartment. She notices photos of naked girls in one of the books, and tears begin to come to her eyes. Pierre arrives and finds his mistress naked. They amuse themselves in the apartment until the evening. At the entrance to the apartment building, they say goodbye, and Pierre approaches the flower seller and asks her to take a picture. Thus, he photographs naked women a lot of times having mistresses. Marie and Henry come to a so-called party. There she sees Pierre and the Algerian woman. She suddenly feels uneasy, and she wants to leave, but Henry insists on staying for a while, and then quietly leave. In the evening, Henry finds nude photos in Marie's desk and realizes that his wife doesn't love him, and the heart belongs to Pierre. When Marie gets out of the shower, her husband accidentally tears off her robe and wants to strangely convince his wife to stop loving Pierre. He tells her that he has several mistresses every day. In the end, Marie bites Henry's finger and shouts that she doesn't love her husband. Marie goes unnoticed to Pierre's apartment and notices a naked Algerian woman dancing there. Her eyes fill with tears and she runs away. At their next meeting, Marie begins to cry, and Pierre wants to take a picture of her because he found a beautiful frame. He wants to take Marie to the land of dates. In the evening, the photographer tries to convince that Algerian woman to go along, but she is against it. The girl tries to seduce the man, but he tries to kick her out. She begins to speak in her native language and gets hysterical. Pierre kicked the Algerian woman out of the door. When Henry and Pierre meet, the poet notices the sad face of a friend. He's sure it's all because of love. Pierre says it's just a passion, but it's also destructive. It's all because of that Algerian woman. Then Henry asks why he should not also go to her in Algeria. Marie receives a letter from Pierre. It says that he is going to Algeria and asks to write more often. The girl can cope with her feelings and runs through the streets. Then she stops near a tree and shouts loudly. Marie is lying in her room and can't calm down. Her sister, Helen de Heredia, is trying to entertain her in some way, but it doesn't help. Her mother tells Henry to entertain Marie in some way too, to go to the opera, to the races. It's one thing to dispel it. When Marie was at the Insect Museum, she met a friend of Pierre, Jean. They got to know each other very well, and she gave Jean a statue of a fly. The girl adds to the conversation that she really likes Jean's poems. Marie reads Pierre's letter from Algeria. In it, he writes about how much he loves a girl. She also writes a reply letter in the form of a verse. There she hints that she will cheat on Pierre with someone else, but despite this, her lover is the best. A woman writes a letter to Jean. She writes that everything is over, and there is no need to come to Pierre's apartment anymore. He comes to the apartment and looks through the photos, remembering the happy moments with Marie. But still, after learning about the letter, he could not survive such a breakup and committed suicide. Upon returning home, Pierre found out all this and was very upset. Marie resorts to him, but he's offended by her, firstly because of cheating with a friend, and secondly because of the death of a friend. When meeting the father of Marie, Henry and Pierre, the elder says that his daughter is pregnant. Of course, he hopes for the birth of a boy, because he is less trouble than with a girl. And also, they want Pierre to become the godfather for the child, and his parents will call him Pierre. Marie writes letters to Pierre. She is tormented by the man's silence. Without him, life is nothing but despair. While walking Henry and the girl, they meet Marie's lover. He's quite happy to meet a girl and meet a child. He looks very much like his father, Pierre. Henry went to the nearest kiosk for sparkling water, thereby allowing his wife and friend to talk alone. They call the child Tiger and want to go to the zoo to take pictures with real tigers. While Marie has moved away to calm the child, Henry and Pierre are talking alone. Henry considers himself a pathetic cuckold, but Pierre doesn't think so. The husband understands that his wife doesn't love him at all and says that Pierre would be better with her than anyone else. The photographer takes the poet to his apartment and closes him, at the request of the man, in a separate room. And then Marie also comes to Pierre with obvious intentions. Henry listens to his wife and friend making love behind the wall. Married people are sitting in the same room, and the girl asks to read her poems. She has a clear aptitude for this business, and Henry approves of it. Maria arranges her younger sister's marriage with Pierre Louis in order to be able to see him and control him, and then enters into a rather strange relationship with her sister. Pierre Louis is a lover of threesome love. He photographs two girls in different poses. He took so many photos that he needs to be in the room for a very long time to see through the photos. Vapors of the solution for manifestation have a very bad effect on human vision. The finale will be logical for all the heroes. The cuckold's husband Harry will establish the only possible connection. Weakened and blind and literally Pierre Louis finds himself completely dependent on the triumphant Marie, while the girl herself has become a famous writer and is already looking for a new lover. Our video has come to an end, dear friends. It was the French melodrama Curiosa. If you like our video, then don't forget to like and subscribe to Snail TV. Well, we will come back to you soon with a new interesting retelling.